Hey guys, it's Mizzy, and I just want to make this blog video about my husband. I'm not doing this to embarrass him or, anything like that, not to be gross, but I definitely think that, sharing his experience and his symptoms and things like that, it might actually encourage people to go get checked out, because I feel like this is actually pretty common, but people just, shrug it off as stomach aches and things like that, so they don't actually go to the doctor. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the beginning and let everyone know what's going on. So basically, for about a year now, he's had on and off stomach aches. Now, we didn't think too much of it because his stomach aches would go for like only a day or so, and then there would be like a month or two in between, and who would put two and two together there and, think that there was a problem? But then finally, he had a pretty massive stomach ache. This happened about 2 weeks ago now. For four or 5 days straight, he was in a lot of pain. He was so upset that he was actually like fighting with me, and he never fights with me. Like he was genuinely angry about everything, and I was like, okay, there's definitely something wrong here. So then he started throwing up, and nothing was actually coming up. It was like watery, and he kept doing it, and he was dry heaving, and we were like, okay, we need to go get checked out. So we went to the closest ER, and we were not really thrilled about this hospital. I'm not even gonna say which hospital it is, but everyone in this area, they even told me the same thing. They're like, why did you go there? But I'm not from this area, so I didn't really think about anything other than my husband is in pain, I need to get him seen like right away. So we go to this hospital, and we got there I think about 6 p.m. They did a lot of tests to rule out things like, his gallbladder and his spleen or appendix, like things like that. And then about 2 a.m. they decided to have him admitted because they still couldn't figure out what it was. And, at this point it was 2 in the morning. So they really just, they wanted him to go to sleep. At this point, try to think, at this point I believe it was 4 days that he had gone without food. Eating really bothered him. Everything was upsetting his stomach. Anything he ate, he threw back up anyway, so he really just didn't want to eat. And then when he was in the hospital, they wouldn't let him eat. This poor guy, he just was starving at this point. So the next day, they told us, some of his test results, and they said that there seemed to be a blockage in his lower intestine, but they weren't sure why, because there's a couple of reasons why it would do that. But they did suggest that there's a chance it's Crohn's disease. And so during his stay at the hospital, they treated him as if he had Crohn's disease. And it did help. They gave him steroids to reduce the inflammation in his lower intestine. They gave him soft foods so that nothing irritated him. And then, after, I think he was in the hospital for three full days. So after those 3 days, he was able to eat solid foods again, and then they sent him home. Well, they wanted us to have the colonoscopy done there, and we said no, because we were really not thrilled with that hospital. And then his gastro doctor only seen him one time, and it was in the ER. So in other words, after he got admitted, and he was admitted for 3 days, we never seen the doctor. We've seen other doctors, but we haven't seen his doctor, and he was there for gastro problems, so he needed the gastro doctor, and he was like nowhere to be found. So we decided to just let him be released from the hospital. We came home. I, kind of helped him with his diet for the next couple of days, and then we researched another doctor for him to go to. So that's where we are right now. I am actually in the car waiting for him because he's here having a colonoscopy done. That's the only way that they're able to tell what this is, and hopefully they could give us some answers today. I don't know. So this whole procedure is going to be about 2 hours. He's already been in there for an hour and 10 minutes. I didn't want to sit in there, so I brought my camera because I figured I could, sit out here and talk through it. It was actually kind of funny. When we left the house, he was like, "Why do you have your camera?" And I was joking with him, and I said, oh, well, I'm gonna go back there and I'm gonna film your whole procedure. And then he got all defensive, and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm already gonna have a camera up there, I don't need another one. And then you know, he just believed me because he knows me very well. He knows that I will film and photograph anything possible that I could. So he really believed that that's what I was going to do. But then I told him, and he believed it. I said, no, like, when you're in there having your procedure, I'm just gonna walk around town, and you know, there's still some really nice fall trees all over the place, so maybe I'll get some photos. But really, that wasn't my goal here. Now, this doctor that we were seeing today, we just had an appointment with him yesterday, and he's very nice. He seems to be a lot better than the other doctor that we had. Now, he is affiliated with that hospital though, so if he ever needs to go to the hospital for anything because of this doctor, that's where he's gonna have to go. But I still feel better knowing that he's with someone better. Now, of course, I do not want it to be Crohn's disease, but if it's not Crohn's, then that means it's something else. And you know, regardless of what's going on here, we're gonna have, like, you know, a negative outcome. They're not going to say, oh, hey, there's nothing wrong, it was just a bad stomach ache. There's something actually causing this intestinal blockage, and I'm just really, like, concerned about what it is. I don't want him, you know, to end up having something that's cancerous, simply because it does run on his dad's side of the family. But if it is Crohn's disease, then our whole life is going to change. And I'm saying our, I know it's happening to him, not me, but I'm his wife, and so, like, in order for him to have a productive, you know, life after finding out that he has Crohn's, I have to help him adjust. You know, I'm going to have to do research, and we're both going to have to change our diets. I already told him that, you know, if it's Crohn's disease, we will do whatever we can to adjust his diet, and I'll do it with him so that he's not the only one who can't have corn anymore, or, you know, pasta or whatever. So it'll be beneficial to both of us. We could both be on a much healthier diet. We could both lose weight, things like that. So, I mean, there could be some positive outcomes to this, but I'm just concerned because he has a cousin who has Crohn's disease, and she just has flare-ups all the time for no real reason. She eats well. She lost over 100 pounds because of Crohn's disease. Not that, you know, that's a good thing because of, you know, the situation of how she lost it, but she still, like, even though she eats well and she lost all the weight, she still has these massive flare-ups. I just don't want him to, you know, feel like he's suffering and, you know, just go off being depressed now the rest of his life if he has Crohn's disease. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know what's gonna happen now after this visit. I don't know what they're gonna find. I have no clue. So basically, I just want to say, like, if you're having any of these symptoms or any of these problems, and they've seemed to persist for years, you really should consider being seen by a doctor, because it could be something as, you know, simple as irritable bowel syndrome, or it could be something cancerous, or it could be Crohn's disease. Like, you just don't know until you get checked out. And definitely follow your gut instincts. If you're saying, hey, I shouldn't be having stomach aches like this, or I shouldn't be having stomach aches that are so bad that I'm, like, being verbally abusive to everyone around me because that's how much in pain I am, go see a doctor. Alright, well, it's been almost the full 2 hours, so I'm actually going to head in there now and see if there's any updates from a nurse, like anything like that, and if I find out anything, I will add it to the video later. Okay, so we just got home, and we still didn't get a final answer, but we did get, like, a 99% sure type of thing. So I got him inside, he's all settled, and then I forgot my camera out in the car, and then I figured I'll just come back out and do the update. So on our drive home, I did tell him about the video that I took previously, and he is okay with it. I just want everyone to know that I'm not sitting here, you know, explaining his personal life. He's okay with this. He just doesn't want his name out there, and that's fine. But he agrees that, you know, this could potentially help somebody else. The doctor came over and spoke with us, and he said that my husband has what is called ileitis. Now, ileitis is basically the inflammation of the lower intestine, And maybe I'm saying this all wrong right now. I didn't like research everything thoroughly just yet, so forgive me if I'm misspeaking. But I guess like colitis, yeah, it is inflammation, but because of where it is in the intestine, one of the main like reasons why someone has colitis is because of Crohn's disease. So the doctor said that he took several samples and he's going to biopsy them again, but he said he already biopsied them 12 times, and he's really sure that he has Crohn's disease. So he said he's going to call us back in about 2 weeks to set up an appointment, he's going to call us later to set up an appointment for 2 weeks, and then he said, like, we'll talk about it, and we'll get things squared away. But in the meantime, he has medicine that he now has to take twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon, twice in the evening, twice at night. So he literally has to take 8 pills a day for God knows how long. I don't know if he's going to be on this now the rest of his life. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but I guess it's just supposed to help, like, you know, control the swelling so that he could eat normally and pass food normally without having these crazy flare-ups for the time being. Now, I have some pretty, I'm smiling because I think it's interesting personally, but I have some pretty pictures to show you guys. Just a warning, they're not super graphic, but it might not be something that you want to see, so skip ahead here if you want. So these are the pictures of his insides. The yellow images here, they show a normal intestine. But the red parts, that's all his flare-ups here. And I don't know if you could see in the video, but underneath it, it says colitis. Is this even focusing? There we go. Yeah, so it says colitis. And yeah, so this is what they took samples from. I don't know if you could see very well. I'm trying to look in my viewfinder here. There's like all this puffiness, and they took pieces of all the puffiness, and they checked it 12 times already, and the doctor said that it's really showing up as Crohn's. I'm sorry about those pictures, but I just really want to be informative and spread awareness of you know, any issue that you have, like with your stomach. You really should have it checked out, because it could be something serious like this. So what does this mean now? Well, our whole life is going to change, because now we have to change everything that we eat. And I'm saying we again because I understand this is happening to him, but I will be there for him as much as I can. And if he has to change his diet, well, then I'm going to change it too, because I want to be supportive for him, and I don't want to sit there eating a cheeseburger if he can't have it. Now, that's one of the big things is red meat can cause flare-ups and swelling, so we're going to avoid that. We don't really, like, I don't know how to explain it. We're not really meat eaters anyway. We do like chicken and turkey, but he will go out to a restaurant and have a cheeseburger. We don't really make it at home. So, I mean, it's not going to be too much of a difference, but now he's pretty upset because his favorite meal at his favorite restaurant is a cheeseburger, and he's not going to be able to eat it anymore. So he's pretty upset right now about a lot of things. You know, of course, I would be very upset too. But I think, like, I don't know, we're just going to take it day by day. We're going to make sure he's eating well and he's taking his medicine, and I am going to do as much research as I possibly can to figure out what he can and can't eat. And then also, I understand too that everyone's different, so there might be some things that maybe he could try a little bit of and see how that affects him. So I'm sorry for this video if it's not really what you're into or you don't want to see it. I understand, but the rest of this channel, like, this really wasn't what I planned on blogging about, so still feel free to subscribe to me, because there will be other, like, various things on this page, and then I'll just keep you guys updated periodically with what's happening with us with the Crohn's disease. Okay, so we both had a pretty long day. I'm just gonna stop it right here, and I'm gonna go inside and help my husband get ready for his soup that he's not too excited about.